The 12 most handsome old Hollywood Golden Age actors. Hollywood's Golden Age didn't just create stars, it manufactured beauty itself. In the carefully controlled studios of the 1930s through 1950s, cinematographers mastered lighting techniques that could make mortals look like gods. Makeup artists spent hours perfecting every angle, every shadow, every highlight. These weren't just handsome men who happened to be actors. They were the definition of masculine beauty, carefully crafted and presented to a world hungry for glamour and escape. But beyond the studio magic and carefully controlled publicity photos, some actors possessed a natural magnetism that transcended even Hollywood's considerable powers of enhancement. These were men whose beauty stopped production assistants in their tracks, whose screen tests made studio executives immediately reach for their checkbooks. The camera loved them in ways that couldn't be manufactured or faked. Some actors needed the full Hollywood treatment: perfect lighting, the right angles, extensive makeup. Notes classic Hollywood historian James Robertson, who spent decades studying studio archives. But there were about 17 men who could walk onto a soundstage in ordinary clothes under harsh work lights and still make everyone stop and stare. The camera simply couldn't make them look bad. These weren't just handsome faces. They had a quality that made audiences fall in love with them before they even spoke a line. These actors didn't just set beauty standards for their era, they defined masculine attractiveness for generations to come. Their faces launched 1,000 magazine covers, inspired countless imitators, and created archetypes of male beauty that still influence casting directors today. From the swashbuckler whose athletic grace made him look like a Greek statue come to life, to the brooding rebel whose dangerous beauty redefined what leading men could be, the immigrant who became America's definition of exotic sophistication, and the all-American golden boy whose smile could light up the darkest film noir. These weren't just pretty faces who got lucky in Hollywood's star-making machine. These were men whose natural charisma, striking features, and screen presence made them impossible to ignore. Their beauty was undeniable, their impact lasting. We begin with a man whose refined British handsomeness made him Hollywood's go-to choice for sophisticated leading roles, though few today remember just how striking he was in his prime. Number 12. The Distinguished Gentleman, Ronald Colman. Ronald Colman began as a silent film star who successfully transitioned to talkies, becoming one of Hollywood's most reliable leading men. His distinguished features and impeccable grooming made him the epitome of refined British masculinity. When audiences thought of class and sophistication, they thought of Colman. His penetrating dark eyes could convey depth and intelligence without a word. That perfectly groomed mustache became his signature, instantly recognizable and widely imitated. His aristocratic bone structure gave him a timeless quality, while the distinguished graying at his temples only enhanced his appeal as he aged. Audiences and critics praised his noble bearing and gentleman's grace. Roles in films like A Tale of Two Cities and Lost Horizon showcased not just his acting ability, but his commanding handsomeness. He won the Academy Award for A Double Life, cementing his place in Hollywood history. Colman ranks here because his appeal was sophisticated rather than devastatingly handsome. He was distinguished rather than drop-dead gorgeous, perfect for his refined niche, but not the universal heartthrob that higher-ranked actors became. Number 11. The Shakespearean God, Laurence Olivier. Laurence Olivier was considered the greatest actor of his generation, equally comfortable on stage and screen. His interpretations of Shakespeare influenced generations of performers. British theatrical royalty, he brought gravitas and intensity to every role he touched. In costume dramas, Olivier's classical features seemed perfectly suited to period pieces. Sharp, aristocratic features suggested nobility and breeding. Intense, piercing eyes could convey everything from tenderness to rage. His prominent Roman nose added character rather than detracting from his looks, giving him distinction rather than conventional prettiness. His commanding screen presence made him magnetic to watch. Early romantic leads showcased his youthful handsomeness, particularly his smoldering Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights. That role proved he could be a romantic leading man, not just a serious dramatic actor. Interestingly, age improved his looks. The maturity that came with years enhanced rather than diminished his appeal. He became more distinguished, more impressive, more formidable. His handsomeness evolved from youthful beauty to commanding presence. Olivier ranks here because sometimes his immense talent overshadows discussions of his physical beauty. He was very handsome, but his appeal wasn't purely physical. His was a cerebral attractiveness. You were drawn to his mind as much as his face. Number 10. The dimpled dynamo, Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas became one of Hollywood's most dynamic leading men through sheer force of personality and intense physical performances. His powerful presence dominated the screen in classics like Spartacus, Lust for Life, and Paths of Glory. He was energy and intensity personified. His most famous feature was impossible to miss, that legendary cleft chin, perhaps the most famous dimple in Hollywood history. Coupled with a chiseled jawline that looked carved from granite, piercing blue-green eyes that could be tender or terrifying, and an athletic, muscular build maintained through rigorous training, Douglas possessed striking masculine beauty. His ruggedness was refined by classical proportions. The physicality of Spartacus showcased his body at its peak, a Roman gladiator's physique that made audiences gasp. He looked dangerous, powerful, capable of anything. There was an edge to his handsomeness that suggested volatility beneath the surface. That screen magnetism made him impossible to ignore. His volatile intensity kept audiences on edge. You never knew if he'd kiss the leading lady or explode in rage. Every scene crackled with energy when Douglas appeared. Douglas ranks here in solid top 10 territory because while strikingly handsome, he was more rugged than classically beautiful. That famous chin alone could have elevated him higher, but his was a striking rather than pretty handsomeness, powerful rather than perfect. Number 9. The blue-eyed icon, Paul Newman. Paul Newman enjoyed a career spanning over 50 years, remaining relevant and working consistently into his 70s. Remarkably, he aged like fine wine, becoming more distinguished and somehow even more attractive as the decades passed. He remained handsome into old age in ways that seemed almost unfair. But those eyes, those legendary, impossibly blue eyes, became the most photographed eyes in Hollywood history. People literally stopped mid-sentence when Paul Newman looked at them. Cinematographers built entire lighting setups around capturing their extraordinary color. Looking into them was like looking into clear tropical water. Mesmerizing, hypnotic, unforgettable. Beyond the eyes, he had other considerable assets. A mischievous smile suggested humor and intelligence. An athletic build from his racing hobby kept him fit and vital. A boyish quality persisted even as he aged, making him seem perpetually youthful. He embodied classical American handsomeness, the clean-cut, all-American ideal. His sex symbol status spanned generations. He was voted sexiest man alive multiple times across different decades. He appeared on most handsome lists from the 1950s through the 2000s. Pin-up quality, looks combined with serious acting talent. Interestingly, his lifelong fidelity to wife Joan Woodward somehow added to his appeal, proof that even the most handsome men could be devoted and decent. Newman ranks here because one could easily argue he deserves higher placement. Those eyes alone are legendary enough to carry him to the top. He was the complete package of looks, talent, and charisma, forever elevated by the bluest eyes in cinema history. Number 8. The revolutionary beauty, Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando fundamentally redefined what masculine beauty could be in Hollywood. He made vulnerability sexy, sensitivity powerful, and working-class masculinity desirable. After Brando, leading men could never return to being just refined gentlemen. He changed what audiences wanted and expected forever. In the 1950s, Brando's physical beauty was breathtaking. A streetcar named Desire showcased a sculpted body that seemed designed by an artist. His sensual movements suggested a panther in human form. Full, expressive lips that seemed always slightly parted. Intense eyes that burned with barely contained emotion. Raw, animalistic appeal that had never been captured on screen with such power. Brando was revolutionary because he was the first leading man to be so openly sexual. Method acting's physicality made every gesture meaningful and charged with intention. His broken nose, far from being a flaw, added character and authenticity. He brought working-class masculinity to the screen, the rebellious outsider rather than the refined gentleman. Female audiences were simultaneously scandalized and thrilled. Brando was different from anything they'd seen before, dangerous, unpredictable, intensely physical. He made women feel things they couldn't always admit to feeling. His sexuality wasn't polite or refined, it was raw and honest. The tragedy was how brief his peak beauty lasted. Weight gain in his later years became Hollywood legend. But in those early films, on the waterfront, The Wild One, Streetcar, he was almost unbearably beautiful. Peak Brando might rank number 1 on pure physical beauty and sexual magnetism. Brando ranks at number 8 because his revolutionary impact competes with his relatively short window of peak beauty. He was more revolutionary than classically handsome, more important historically than timelessly beautiful. But he changed the game forever. Number 7. The Ethical Ideal. Gregory Peck. Gregory Peck became the moral center of Hollywood, both on screen and off. His integrity showed in every performance, every interview, every public appearance. He played noble men because he was a noble man, the rare case where actor and image were genuinely aligned. At 6 feet 3 inches, Peck embodied physical perfection in classical terms. A strong jawline and prominent chin suggested determination and character. Dark, intelligent eyes conveyed thoughtfulness and depth. A perfect nose, high cheekbones, and thick, dark hair completed a face that seemed designed to play heroes. Every feature worked in harmony. His commanding presence gave him natural authority. He possessed dignity in every movement, never seeming awkward or uncertain. His voice commanded respect, deep, warm, reassuring. He looked like a hero even standing still, radiating competence and trustworthiness. Peck's versatility proved his looks worked in any context. In Roman Holiday, he showed romantic charm opposite Audrey Hepburn. In To Kill a Mockingbird, he embodied paternal strength and moral courage. Interestingly, age improved his looks. Gray hair and weathered features made him more distinguished, more impressive. His sex appeal combined masculine strength without aggression. He seemed safe, yet exciting, the ideal combination. Women saw him as every woman's ideal husband material. Men wanted to be him, respected, admired, decent. He was masculinity without toxic masculinity. Peck ranks at number 7 because he deserves a place near the top. He was the complete package: looks, talent, character. His handsomeness was timeless rather than trendy, and his integrity somehow added to his physical appeal in ways that transcended mere beauty. Number 6. The All-American Dreamboat. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was a studio creation in the most literal sense. Universal Pictures changed his name from Roy Fitzgerald, gave him acting lessons, publicity training, and a carefully crafted persona. Their investment paid off spectacularly. Hudson became one of the biggest stars of the 1950s and early 1960s. His physical specifications read like a wish list for the perfect leading man. At 6 feet 4 inches, he towered over most co-stars. Broad shoulders and a narrow waist created a V-shaped physique. A square jaw and dimpled chin suggested strength and charm. Warm brown eyes conveyed kindness and humor. His perfect smile could light up the screen, friendly, inviting, wholesome. Hudson's peak beauty in 1950s romantic comedies opposite Doris Day created a template for leading men that lasted decades. Shirtless scenes caused actual scandals. Audiences weren't accustomed to seeing such physical perfection displayed so openly. Giant, opposite Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean showcased him as a believable romantic rival to two of Hollywood's most beautiful people. His appeal was genuinely universal. Women wanted him. He seemed like the perfect boyfriend, attentive and kind. Men wanted to be his friend. He projected easygoing masculinity without threatening insecurity. He embodied safe, wholesome sexuality, exciting but not dangerous. He was the boyfriend parents approved of and daughters dreamed about. The hidden complexity of Hudson's secret gay life adds pathos when viewed in retrospect. He spent his career playing against his reality, convincing the world he was the ultimate heterosexual romantic lead. The irony of his heartthrob status, built on a carefully maintained fiction, makes his story both more interesting and more tragic. Hudson ranks at number 6 for his top-tier conventional handsomeness. He embodied the 1950s ideal of masculine beauty perfectly. He was almost too perfect to be interesting, lacking the edge or danger that elevates the very top tier. That slight artificiality, that sense of being manufactured rather than natural, keeps him from number 1. Number 5, the athletic virtuoso, Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly revolutionized film musicals by bringing an athletic masculine approach to dance. Before Kelly, male dancers were often dismissed as effeminate. After Kelly, dance became a demonstration of masculine power and grace. He made it acceptable, even cool, for men to dance. His compact, muscular build at 5 feet 7 inches was pure functionality. Every muscle earned through endless hours of dancing, rehearsing, perfecting. His physique was incredible. Powerful legs that could propel him into seemingly impossible leaps, strong arms that made lifting partners look effortless, a gymnast's body honed for performance rather than show. Kelly's facial features reinforced his approachable appeal. A bright, genuine smile that radiated joy, sparkling eyes that danced even when his body wasn't moving. Classic Irish good looks, handsome but relatable. He was attractive without being intimidating, good-looking without being unapproachable. What made Kelly special was how he brought masculine grace to everything he did. He made dance masculine through athletic power rather than artistic delicacy. He made sweat and hard work sexy. In Singin' in the Rain, his pure joy became magnetic. You couldn't look away from someone so completely alive and present. His sex appeal came from vitality rather than conventional beauty. Energy was intoxicating. He seemed to vibrate with life force. Physical confidence without arrogance. He made women want to dance with him, to share in that joy and movement. Kelly ranks at number 5 because he represented a different type of handsomeness. Movement added dimension to his static beauty. He wasn't tall enough by conventional standards, not classically handsome in still photos. But those who got it, got it, understanding that his appeal transcended conventional measurements. Number 4, the swashbuckling rogue, Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn defined the swashbuckler genre in films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood. He was the living embodiment of romantic adventure, heroic, dashing, irresistible. When audiences thought of adventure heroes, they pictured Flynn's smile and athletic grace. His physical perfection seemed designed specifically for swashbucklers. Tall, with an athletic build, he had perfect proportions that looked stunning in the tights and tunics of period adventure films. He was handsome in motion, leaping, fencing, racing across castle battlements. He literally looked like he'd leaped from the pages of a romance novel. Flynn's facial beauty combined classical handsomeness with roguish charm. Classically handsome features needed no enhancement. His pencil-thin mustache became iconic and widely imitated. Mischievous eyes suggested he was always plotting some adventure or seduction. That roguish smile promised excitement and danger. A dimpled chin completed the perfect adventure hero face. His swashbuckling physicality set the standard. Fencing and sword fighting looked natural in his hands. Shirtless scenes were scandalous for 1930s audiences, showing Flynn's athletic torso felt daringly intimate. Athletic grace made action look effortless. He moved like someone who'd spent his life on adventures. Flynn's off-screen persona as a real-life playboy only enhanced his appeal. Scandals and romantic escapades confirmed he was living the adventurous life he portrayed. The phrase "in like Flynn" entered the American lexicon, referring to easy success with women. He was the fantasy made real. His peak years from the late 1930s through the 1940s captured him before alcohol and hard living took their toll. In those years, he was Warner Brothers' biggest star and Hollywood's definition of the romantic leading man, the template every adventure hero tried to match. Flynn ranks at number 4, though one could argue for number 1. In his prime, he possessed perfect adventure hero looks and the swashbuckling physicality to match. His decline in later years affects his overall legacy, but the total package in his prime was nearly perfect, almost impossibly romantic. Number 3, the original sex symbol, Rudolph Valentino. Rudolph Valentino was the first true movie sex symbol, a cultural phenomenon who caused riots at personal appearances and made women faint in theaters. The unprecedented feminine hysteria surrounding him had never been seen before. He created the template for movie star worship that continues today. Born Rodolfo Guglielmi, in Italy, Valentino's exotic appeal set him apart from Anglo-Saxon leading men who dominated early Hollywood. His dark, Mediterranean look seemed dangerous and foreign, exactly what American audiences found thrilling. That dangerous foreign mystique suggested passion and romance that nice American boys couldn't provide. Valentino's physical attributes created the blueprint for male sex symbols. Slicked back, dark hair became his signature look, copied by thousands. Intense, smoldering eyes seemed to burn through the screen, even in silent films. A sensual mouth suggested pleasures that couldn't be shown in 1920s cinema. His lithe dancer's body moved with feline grace, every gesture calculated for maximum effect. He was revolutionary because he was the first openly sexual male star. The chic defined romantic fantasy for a generation of women. Those bedroom eyes conveyed desire before film had learned innuendo. He made women admit to feelings they'd been taught to suppress. Silent film required him to project passion purely through presence and movement, and he succeeded brilliantly. His screen presence leveraged his dance training. He moved like a professional dancer because he was one. Every gesture was deliberate, controlled, meaningful. He looked at women on screen the way he desired them in real life. Through silent film, he projected raw passion that transcended the need for words. Valentino's tragic early death, at 31 in 1926, preserved him at peak beauty. Tens of thousands attended his funeral in scenes of mass hysteria. Never aging or declining, he remained forever young and beautiful in the public imagination. His legend only grew after death, the ultimate romantic figure who died young and beautiful. His historical significance is enormous. Valentino created the template every male sex symbol since has followed. He showed that ethnic non-Anglo-Saxon looks could dominate as leading men. His influence on Brando and Dean decades later was direct and acknowledged. He changed what male stars could be. Valentino ranks at number 3 based on historical impact and revolutionary importance. Silent film limits modern assessment of his full appeal. We can't hear his voice or see his eyes in color. But his revolutionary status for his time, combined with his genuine beauty, earns him top 3 placement on impact alone. Number 2. The Beautiful Rebel. James Dean. James Dean made only 3 major films before dying at 24 in a car crash. Yet he became an eternal symbol of youthful rebellion, teen angst, and tragic beauty. He never aged, never declined, never became ordinary, forever frozen in beautiful, troubled youth. Dean's beauty was unconventional by Hollywood standards. Not traditionally handsome in the classical sense, he possessed something more interesting, a troubled, wounded quality. Tousled blonde hair that looked like he'd just gotten out of bed. Troubled, sensitive eyes that suggested inner torment. A vulnerable, wounded quality that made people want to comfort him. A pouty mouth that suggested both sensitivity and sullenness. He was beautiful rather than handsome. His androgynous appeal blurred traditional masculine and feminine lines. Delicate features combined with a strong, intense presence. He was beautiful in ways that defied traditional gender categories, appealing to everyone regardless of their usual preferences. Women wanted to save him. Men wanted to be him. Method acting gave Dean's physicality authentic edge. Every movement felt genuine rather than performed. He slouched and displayed restless energy, unable to stay still. His body language expressed alienation better than dialogue ever could. He embodied teenage restlessness in every gesture. His sex appeal combined danger with vulnerability, a magnetic combination. The bad boy who needed saving was an intoxicating fantasy. His rebellion felt authentic rather than performed. He made brooding sexy, transforming teenage angst into art. Rebel, without a cause, created his most iconic image. That red jacket became a symbol of teenage rebellion worldwide. Teen angst personified in one troubled, beautiful face. An entire generation identified with his confusion, his anger his search for meaning. His death sealed his legend. The car crash at 24 meant he never grew old, fat, or ordinary. Live fast, die young, leave a beautiful corpse could have been written about Dean. Frozen in beautiful youth, he became the ultimate symbol of tragic beauty and wasted potential. Dean ranks at number 2, despite his limited filmography, because his enormous cultural impact transcends normal metrics. He defined 1950s teen rebellion and influenced every troubled young actor since. He was beautiful in ways that transcend traditional definitions of handsomeness, creating a new template for what male beauty could mean. Number 1. The epitome of masculine elegance. Cary Grant. Cary Grant enjoyed 30-plus years at the top of Hollywood, an unprecedented run of sustained stardom. Scandalously, he never won a competitive Academy Oscar despite multiple brilliant performances. He defined sophisticated masculinity so completely that his name became shorthand for perfection. Even today, he's no Cary Grant, means someone falls short of an impossible standard. Born Archie Leach in Bristol, England, Grant completely transformed himself. He remade every aspect of himself, voice, bearing, style, even his walk. His acrobat background from circus work gave him physical grace that enhanced every movement. He was self-made perfection, proof that extraordinary handsomeness could be partially created through discipline and determination. Grant's facial features combined to create near-perfect masculine beauty. His famous cleft chin became one of Hollywood's most recognizable features. Deep set, warm eyes conveyed intelligence and humor. Perfect bone structure photographed beautifully from every angle. A strong nose gave his face character without detracting from its beauty. Full, expressive mouth could do comedy or seduction equally well. Dark hair with premature silver graying added distinction rather than aging him, making him more attractive as he matured. His voice was as carefully crafted as his appearance. That unique mid-Atlantic accent belonged to neither Britain nor America, a deliberate creation. Smooth, warm, masculine tones could deliver comedy or drama with equal effectiveness. He could make the most absurd dialogue sound intelligent and the simplest word sound profound. At 6 feet 1 inch, Grant had perfect height, tall enough to be commanding, not so tall as to be awkward. Broad shoulders and a trim waist created ideal proportions. Athletic without being bulky, he maintained conditioning through diet and exercise. He moved like a dancer, flowing through spaces with practiced grace. Most remarkably, he looked equally perfect in a tuxedo or casual clothes, formal or informal. He was always impeccable. Perhaps most impressive, Grant arguably looked better at 50 than at 30. Gray hair enhanced rather than diminished his appeal. He maintained his physique throughout his career with remarkable discipline. He never had a fat period or visible decline. When he retired from acting, he did so at the peak of his handsomeness, refusing to let audiences see him decline. His versatility proved his looks worked in any genre or context. Screwball comedy showcased his timing and charm. Hitchcock thrillers revealed intensity and danger beneath the polish. Romantic leads demonstrated pure seduction. He looked perfect in period pieces, contemporary films, comedies, dramas. Any context enhanced rather than challenged his appeal. Grant's cultural impact extends far beyond his films. His own quote summarizes the phenomenon: "Everyone wants to be Cary Grant. Even I want to be Cary Grant." His name became a benchmark for perfection in looks, style, and masculine appeal. He influenced every leading man who came after, a template they could aspire to, but rarely achieve. James Bond was partly based on Grant's combination of danger and sophistication. What made Grant truly number one was the complete package. Looks plus charm plus wit plus timing equaled something greater than the sum of parts. He made other handsome men look ordinary by comparison. He never seemed to try hard. Everything appeared effortless. That appearance of effortless perfection was itself perfectly crafted through years of work. Grant's sustained handsomeness over decades sets him apart. He worked successfully in any genre, any era, silent films through the 1960s. He combined classical looks with modern appeal in ways that transcended time. He proved that self-made perfection was possible, that Archie Leach could become Cary Grant through will, discipline, and artistry. His legacy remains unmatched. For 30 years, he was directors' first choice for leading roles. Every actress in Hollywood wanted him as her leading man. Men simultaneously envied and admired him without resentment because his perfection seemed almost abstract. He transcended trends and decades, remaining relevant and desired through constant evolution while maintaining his core appeal. Grant ranks number one because he represents the ultimate achievement in masculine handsomeness. No one before or since has maintained such perfection for so long. No one has combined looks, charm, timing, and presence so completely. He remains the standard, the impossible ideal against which all other handsome leading men are measured. He was, quite simply, the most handsome man Hollywood's golden age ever produced. These 12 men weren't just handsome. They defined what masculine beauty could be across different eras and styles. From Valentino's exotic sensuality to Grant's timeless elegance, from Dean's troubled beauty to Flynn's swashbuckling perfection, they proved that handsomeness comes in many forms. Each brought something unique, proof that there's no single template for masculine beauty. Hollywood's golden age studio system may have manufactured stars, but it couldn't manufacture the kind of natural magnetism these men possessed. The camera simply loved them in ways that no amount of lighting, makeup, or publicity could fake. Their appeal was genuine, undeniable, and powerful enough to transcend decades. Their faces still influence casting directors, fashion designers, and our collective understanding of masculine beauty today. They set standards that persist decades after their final films. When we imagine classic Hollywood glamour, we picture these faces forever young on film, forever beautiful in our memories. Who do you think was the most handsome? Did we get the ranking right, or would you have chosen differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through Hollywood's most handsome leading men, like and subscribe for more classic cinema content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.